In the last 2 videos, I managed to my body. But 3 weeks later, I might have just it up again. I just weighed myself after 3 weeks and holy crap. How did we get here? There's this American competition reality show that I used to love watching called The Biggest Loser. Quite the name. Basically, all the contestants on the show are these people that are severely obese. And the way to win the show will be to see who loses the most weight by percentage at the end of it. As a rather chunky kid while growing up, seeing these people weighing 400 pounds drop to 175 in such a short time, that stuff felt really inspirational to me. Seeing the way they grinded through the diets and hard exercise, it made me feel like I could do what they did too. I mean, look at this change. In less than a year, that is bonkers. But there is another part that the show doesn't tell you. Almost everyone gained all the weight back. 16 contestants of season 8 took part in a long-term study where it was found that after 6 years, only one contestant maintained the weight loss. So these group of 16 people had collectively lost over 58.3 kilograms per contestant over a 30-week period, only to gain all of that back. With those numbers, it's more than just an anomaly, it's a trend. You see, no one really talks about what happens after a body transformation journey. And personally, I've started to notice a few problems I faced. For one, I'm currently on vacation. So the thing about vacation is that your diet is not as regulated as it would be at home. I've been subsisting on this lean diet for the past 5 months. And now that I'm overseas and done with this phase of the journey, I'm like, damn, I'm free to sort of eat whatever I want. But at the same time, there's not much control as to what goes inside to the food I'm eating outside. I can't control the amount of carbs, the amount of protein, and how much oil they use. It's not something I can do as compared to at home. But hang on, didn't I lose all that weight so that I could essentially eat whatever I wanted without thinking about my weight? You would think that after you've reached your fitness goals, you could go back to the normal life and diet that you used to have. Like, woo, it's time for me to eat cheesecake once again after 5 months. Which I did, and I almost cried. But why are some people able to maintain their body while others rebound? It's likely because the ones that maintain their weight are the ones that probably got to this stage through the adoption of principles rather than tricks. They went through an entire lifestyle change rather than a temporary one. There's also another case to be made for the Biggest Loser contestants, that because of the extreme crash dieting and exercise that they went through, it actually messed up their biology and metabolism, which actually made them a lot more susceptible to weight regain as compared to before. But that's for another video in the future. In my opinion, tricks provide short-term progress, whereas principles are ingrained within you and are built for longevity. These are some things that I consider tricks. Crash and fat dieting, excessive cardio, abstaining from carbohydrates. These are things that I hear from people when they say they want to lose weight or lose fat. And the problem is that it's always so extreme. The diets are always so focused on total restriction, the exercises are so focused on quantity. But principles are more like rules and regulations to follow. And as long as you roughly follow them, there's some level of wiggle room to maneuver around according to what you're feeling that day. So as an example, if I'm in a caloric deficit and I only can eat 1700 calories per day, technically if I'm having some cravings, I could eat a McSpicy burger, which is like 700 calories in one tiny sandwich. Because as long as I keep my caloric intake for the rest of the day below 1000, I'll still be at around 1700 by the end of it. So in theory, you could eat Kentucky Fried Chicken or McDonald's every single day and still lose weight. Wouldn't recommend that though, because you'll be hungry as hell. There's not enough volume in that food. So for this trip, this was my game plan. Diet-wise, there's no way I'm gonna not stuff myself with pastries, because let's be real, pastries in Europe are far superior than the ones I have in my home country of Singapore. I want to eat croissants and bagels, so these foods will fulfill the carbohydrates and fats that I have throughout the day. And I'll compensate by having predominantly more protein-rich foods for my other meals. This is a principle that I like to call compensation eating, where we make up for the macronutrients that might be lacking in other meals to ensure that at the end of the day, at least everything is relatively balanced. And it's something that I learned from my personal trainer Jerome. You can find out my Instagram here. I even brought protein powder on this trip. That's how you know I'm serious. Also, I'm planning to weigh in every single day. This is so that I'm able to have a gauge of how much I'm able to eat each day without gaining too much weight. And at best, be able to maintain. And ideally, after a few days of this, I would be able to have an estimate of how much I'm able to eat while still maintaining my weight and enjoying my vacation. And one key thing I'm gonna do here is to eat things only if I believe that they are worth the calories. Meatballs in Sweden? Definitely. But a plain vanilla milkshake that I can probably get in Singapore? Pass. And lastly, to exercise while I can. This is pretty self-explanatory. I'm on a pretty long trip, 2.5 weeks. And the last thing I want to do is to totally let go of all exercise after consistently putting in the work multiple times a week for the past 6 months. I don't want to lose my gains. Remember, more muscle tissue helps boost your metabolism. The higher your metabolism, the more calories you burn purely by just existing. And the more leeway you have in your diet to enjoy yourself. The one and only true fitness hack. So with that, let's get started. So I got my dinner from a salad stop. As you can see, I put a minuscule amount of tuna over here, a lot of diced chicken, maybe a bit too much avocados, nuggets, falafel, and some pasta. I also have an egg over here, and a bunch of croutons, some carrots, lettuce, you know, basic salad stuff. Honestly, I probably should have made it a bit more protein rich, but you know what? My weight was down today as compared to the first day, so yeah, this is all part of the experimentation process to get a gauge of how much I can eat and still maintain the weight that I'm at right now. Let's dig in. It turns out that Swedish people really love their sweet treats. Candy in every convenience store everywhere. And even the protein options in my first few days weren't the best. For example, the meatballs. Tasty as hell, but there's a reason why it's tasty. Fat content is probably higher than the protein inside it. So, yeah. Not gonna lie, I was a little afraid for the coming week because I was going to be going on a road trip with my university friends. And let's just say our nutrition is about to get a bit haywire. Cooked food is really expensive in Iceland, and we didn't have much time to eat anyway because we had a lot of ground to cover and we went on quite a lot of hikes. So we had to choose things that were more economical and fast. Pasta, bacon and spam on rice, sandwiches. It was definitely not the most nutritious. And after the Iceland trip, I was a little bit concerned about my weight. But that's actually a lie, because honestly, I'm not too concerned about my weight. I know I can eat unhealthy food like this, not because I know I won't gain weight. In fact, I'm pretty positive that I'm going to be gaining a bit of weight and fat on this trip. But even if my fat percentage or weight does go up, it doesn't really matter because the principles have already been ingrained within my behavior. And even in my lifestyle today, I do these small things to accommodate for the lack of nutrition that I have. And with the knowledge of these principles, I'm pretty sure that once I'm back home, it will be easy to get to my peak physical level once again. So that's why, you know what? It's okay to indulge a little. After all, if you've reached this stage, you should know how to get to this point once again. And I had already worked harder than usual before the trip to prepare for it. And now I'm just reaping the rewards. So you know what? Let's indulge a little. The point that I'm trying to make in this video is that to me, it's a lot more about the journey that matters rather than the destination. Cheesy, I know. A body transformation journey doesn't just stop once you have a photo of you with visible abs. It's not like you magically won't gain fat anymore and you can go back to the shitty diet you once had with no repercussions. There's a reason why some people can stay shredded all year round, while others just rebound. You aim for the lifestyle change, not just the visual. And I believe that's what the true transformation really is about. But if you want to see what my body transformation journey was like, click here. And as for my final weight 3 weeks later, I actually ended up losing weight while on vacation. Probably some lost muscle, but back to the gym.